going on, everyone? What's going on?
What's going on?
Hey, it's the World Wide Web. Look at it. Look,
It's the internet.
it's everywhere.
We are everywhere. And more than likely, we are live. So you do
Web
actually
slinging.
see us live. We are. But
Your
yeah,
friendly
guys.
neighborhood web slinger on the World Wide Web. You get it?
There we go.
They don't get it. They don't get it. But no, guys. Welcome back to Carbonite Bounty BS. How's everybody doing this week?
Excellent.
Oh, great.
Good, man. Excellent.
Couldn't
Nice
be
to
better.
sit down.
Halfway point of the holiday season is here. I think
It is. It's crazy, right? You know.
Halloween and Thanksgiving. That's a big long ramp, and then once you hit Thanksgiving, you're at peak weight gaining season for the year.
Correct.
Right after you hit Thanksgiving, this is the gravy season.
Gravy.
Sausage gravy.
Sausage gravy in the mornings, turkey gravy on Thanksgiving, beef gravy at some time in between. Ham.
Yep.
Is there probably is it ham gravy? You probably do more.
Yes,
but
yes. Eaton Park has ham gravy on their salad bar.
Eaton Park could be gravy. That's their superpower.
It's great to be back, and it's great to get a new premiere show to review as well. So, exciting times for us, And as we say, we're in that back half of the year. Very happy we have Still City here. I know he's kind of on alert, so he's kind of Spidey senses are up, and his Jedi intuition's is on full go. So, we're happy for him, and hopefully we get some great news over this next couple days to weeks. So, before we dive into our show, let's let our guy DP let you guys know where to find us at.
Nerdcyclopedia.com, people, your favorite website where you will get all your favorite social media platforms that we are on. We're on X, formerly known as Twitter, and also Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We might be on Blue Sky soon. So, we'll keep you posted. We'll keep you posted as far as that. If you're listening to us on podcast on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast, guess what? We're there. Oh, we're all artists as well. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and hit that notification button. So anytime that we're on, you know that we're on. We're also on Facebook as well. So if you go to our Nerdcyclopedia page on Facebook, you can watch us right there. Slide us an email too. We're at Nerdcyclopedia feedback at gmail.com. And guess what? It's still free.
Is there a charge for that at all?
Not at all. Not this year.
No,
2025.
So it's literally
We shall
free.
see.
It's no charge, and you can do it as much as you want.
This year is free. So this year is still
This year.
free.
Get your
It's one more
feedback
month
in.
left in a year.
Yeah,
We
we
don't
make
have
no
here
guarantees.
at Nerdcyclopedia. We run by the calendar. You don't have some random cut in April for no reason. December. It's January, December, just like regular style. The year, little baby in January. December 31st, dead as a doornail, just like all the rest. So keeping it light here.
Wow.
Keeping it light and fun. And speaking about keeping it light and fun, what do we have here, T Mitch?
Yeah, guys. So if you're not aware, which if you're a Star Wars fan, I don't know how you aren't, but no, guys, Skeleton Crew premiere today, episodes 1 and 2. So no, I'm excited to get everybody's initial review. I'll obviously go last, as you guys want to do the suspense because I'm the resident skepticism member of the team.
Maybe we should go reverse. Maybe we should start with you, T.
Yes.
We'll start with me. So, as far as my initial review, what, to be honest, and I said this off camera, I'm extremely cautiously optimistic. I really like the show because it resonated with kind of my childhood. There were so many, I won't say Easter eggs because I don't know if they are or not, but I mean, you can pull from any 80s to early 90s, whether it's E.T., Goonies. There was so much in it that I resonated with growing up that kind of drew me in. So I'll tell you the great characters we're already starting with. You got Wim, KB, Neil, and Fern. So, there's some great some great characters we already started with. We got left on a cliffhanger in episode 2. So, like I said, I'm extremely cautiously optimistic. I'm really liking this, and for me, I can't speak for everyone, outside of like our age bracket, but it really resonated with me because this show feels like it fit when I was growing up. So it's really a throwback in the way it was shot. It's kind of throwback, like I said, to like a late '80s, early '90s kind of all action adventure story with kids and all kind of stakes. So I'm glad that it came out. But no, that's a good point. It did. It resonated with definitely the millennials for sure. At least myself. What about you, Hitch?
Well, I mean, I guess oh man, that's too loud. I guess if I had to say anything, it would probably be that I think this really resonated with millennials. I think people of a certain age that of being the millennial age, 80 to 90ish, are really going to enjoy this because it does blend a lot of features and flavors into the Star Wars milieu that have not existed. I mean, obviously, if the Emperor is in charge, there has to be some sort of middle class backing him up. We finally see that in a neighborhood that's not like the Star Wars canon is, the technology is so far beyond what we have that it's almost magic in a lot of ways. And this is a neighborhood where Neil and Wim live that's very believable. It almost seems like it could be a not too distant future on Earth with these kind of dystopian camera robots that boss everyone around. There's got to be something weird to that, which I really appreciated. And this obviously is of Star Wars because we get a lot of flavors that are present, especially in the original Star Wars, and we get a lot of I think callbacks. There's a lot of effects that are intentionally retro looking, where they look maybe artistically crappy in the way that certain green screen looked in the Endor Forest, for instance. I thought there were a lot of callbacks to that thematically, and this reminded me a lot of Goonies. It reminded me a lot of I think T. Mitch, you said something like E.T. Even something like Home Alone. So there's a lot of in the '80s there were all these latchkey kids running around on the screen, and I think this is a really great representation of them. There's a lot of stakes. We know the stakes for these kids. We find out that the world they live in is a little bit of a bubble, and it seems bubbly, because we know all the the slums on Coruscant, and we see the industrial base on Corellia, and obviously the middle of nowhere on Tatooine. It's a literal desert with slavery, right? It's not a posh place. So it's great to see that exists. There's some weirdness to these guys where the people around them don't know that they're out of place, and I really just like the tone a lot. So I'm very optimistic about this series now. And then I think T. Mitch, to your point, we just watched The Acolyte, and we know television series can do the whole Atlanta Falcons 35-3. Game of Thrones sort of did that themselves in season 8 and 9 or 10 and 8.
Yeah.
So this, you're right, is possible. This is very, it's a very it's a good couple episodes. I liked all the actors. The kids all did a really good job. None of them were really annoying. Even that Neil, like the elephant, right? The elephant-esque alien. I like that character a lot. And I think that, having casting a very human voice, you know what I mean? A very vulnerable sounding voice in that really, really worked for me and it resonated. So I really enjoyed, I really like the show a lot. And I think if it's going where I think it's going, which is like now at the end of this premiere is when we start having Jude Law be part of this cast. I mean, I'm excited to see how adding, because there's no way that adding that character and that actor into this mix is going to make the next episode worse. I just don't think that's possible. Right. So I'm excited to see where they go. How about you, Ken?
I third everything that you guys have said. Now you've hit on basically everything I was going to say. Steel City, Team Mitch. I enjoyed the throwback, the sort of '80s vibe. They captured a lot of the original Star Wars Band of Four treatment. We have a Luke Skywalker figure. We have Han. We have Chewbacca. We have a droid. You know, we have the gang back together. And you know, so the characters are great. The story is very good. The editing, it's something I criticized a lot with Acolyte. If it wasn't for poor editing, Acolyte would have been a better show. But this has great editing. It's like, I think, and I didn't look into it, but I think it's the same. I would guess it's the same people that did Ahsoka, because Ahsoka was put together very well, scene by scene, worked. Every scene connected. There were good wipes and fades, and everything was balanced. So I think these first 2 episodes were cut very well. Yeah, it's important when you're trying to tell a story. I'm super intrigued with a couple things. One, Wim's mother, because obviously that's where he got his Force interest. Not Force sensitivity, but his Force interest, I think, came from his mother. So I hope they do something there. I really like the fact that Ada is completely hidden by everybody, which harkens back to Clone Wars and where a planet was not visible. Obi-Wan's planet couldn't be found. Yoda couldn't even find it. You know, it's like so I think there's something there. I think at Ada, with their great work and this sort of very, like you said, Steel City, very sort of modeled lifestyle. Like, this isn't the way the galaxy is, but it's the way this planet is for a specific reason, and nobody knows. So it's hidden for a reason. I think it's there to preserve or create a new way of life, maybe potentially to expand out into the galaxy. But there's some reason that Ada is completely hidden. I like that even that Imperial security droid, which harkens back to Rogue One, kept referenced Aduli and other planets, because he was trying to figure out what planet they're talking about. So there's a lot of connection back to the you know, the sort of the new Star Wars universe that we're all kind of digging. I will watch this multiple times before Tuesday, because I think this is just, I mean, it's great. It's got all kind of great stuff. I love that it was a starship and not a hidden Jedi temple. That was legit great. And just, I mean, the protagonists that we have, the skeleton crew, like the pirates. I mean, they had me at pirates, actually. I mean, as soon as the opening dialogue about like where we're at, like in the galaxy, and there's pirates everywhere, just terrorizing everybody, I was down. I was like, all right, this is going to be good. So there's some tie back, like that starship is a pirate starship with a skeleton crew on it. I mean, that's great. It's like we all said, it's Goonies, it's E.T., it's what was that other show? That was it was a book series and they turned it into a TV show. It was like scary stories.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, yes, thank you. Goosebumps. It has all these like, because there's skeletons and there's rats coming out of their eyeballs, and it's, you know, it's got that gritty. And I'll tell you what, that opening scene between the pirates and the poor slobs on the New Republic protects it. I mean, that was great. Very, very edgy Disney. I mean, aliens getting shot in the eyeball and guys getting shot in the back while they're running away. I mean, that's great. That's Star Wars to me all over. So I give it a thumbs up. I'm rambunctiously optimistic about this. You know, I'm going to go ahead and just be, you know, super positive about this right now. I think we're all going to be very happy with this show.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'm the fourth. I mean, it's rare when we get all four, you know. Well, it's not rare. So we had shows where we got all four, you know, on board and everything. But yeah, I'm digging the skeleton crew. At first I thought I wasn't gonna like it, you know, but I was like, optimistic because I was, waiting for Star Wars content to come out. But you got kids starring in it, and you don't really know what you're going to get, with that. So with me being a resident writer, I'm not looking for like, the Goonies tie-ins or, ET or what have you, or like the various stuff from like the 80s and stuff. I'm looking for characters to connect with, okay, a good plot, to set up, see how everything is going to set up the intrigue and everything, and how it's going to pull me in and make me actually care about these characters. So I have to say, off the bat, Neil is like, Steel City said, Neil is totally captivating. I don't like Wim. So he's that annoying one. You tell the boy not to push the button, and guess what he does? He does the exact thing that you don't want, that you don't want him to do and everything. Because he just can't help himself. That's just the way he is. But that's a great defining trait for a character. The girl I like, she's real bossy. She carries his confidence like Han Solo. She carries his confidence where she's full of it, but she just walks it anyway. I love the interaction with her and the SM, the droid,
SM-33,
yeah, SM-33 and everything. How she totally commanded that situation, and one was just like, what are you doing? And he was just like, okay, well, he came. I was like, well, I thought I was the one. No. She has total command of like the situation. So I'm glad that she is who she is. And the other one, I forgot the other one's the name. With the glass,
KB.
the
KB.
KB. Yeah. She'll come around and everything. She's not totally defined as of yet and everything, but I see potential in that. So I just expect that to just come around and stuff. Just the setup with the way the world is, and the way they drop hints and teases, which is what a great story does. Hints and teases that there's something going on with this world that's not that's just strange, that's just like sets up a bigger mystery, and I'm all about mystery. So I'm glad to see that, and that being teased throughout like the second half of the first episode and on into like the second episode and everything. You got all these questions about where did these kids come from, and it's such a fake news or false thing or myth, what they were saying as far as like at it. But the biggest thing I think that just brings me in, we're getting a perspective from these kids that we haven't really seen before. We're getting perspective. We had like Anakin back in like Phantom Menace and everything, which was a hit or miss. But I think this here is a really great way for us to get questions. You basically get general audience questions. Well, what is the Force? What is Jedi Temple? What is certain things that these kids are basically growing up in the time where all this stuff didn't happen. They're just now discovering and everything. So we're getting their perspective from just a new light and everything. And I thought that was just real refreshing as far as like a story perspective. And it brought new energy and fun to like, these first two episodes and stuff. So like I said, I thoroughly enjoy. I was, excited to talk about it, and when I wasn't expecting to be, feel like that.
I mean, it's interesting you said that though, because this is another part that falls into that Star Wars kind of 6.5 stratosphere. Because this falls between Jedi and Force Awakens, so more stories of that kind of Star Wars 6.5, and I think that when you look at maybe the Mandiverse and kind of what Disney is talking about, like I mean, there's legs to no Skywalker. I mean, and like we said, I know I don't want to get too giddy as Ken, but I mean, there is a lot to tell in this, not only this universe, but just outside the Skywalkers in this kind of post Skywalker story time. And when you look at Andor with no Skywalkers, like I just feel like if we stay on this trajectory as where we are now, that there can be a Star Wars without the Skywalkers, and
Yeah.
I'm very excited when we see this so far in Andor. It's great that and once again, me being the mouse apologist, I mean, I have to give Disney some credit for this. As much as I slag them for what they do wrong, I have to give them credit for this so far. That they have somebody writing and they're going with something original that is not tied necessarily to a Skywalker, but it's allowing them to create something that hopefully they can put some legs on and allow this to grow in the future.
The camaraderie between these four kids basically knew of each other, but didn't. I mean, they didn't run with each other. These weren't.
Yeah, they weren't hanging out.
Yeah, these weren't. I mean,
two sets.
They
yeah, they were out, and then Neil and Wim, they were buddies and stuff. So it's like them coming together.
Yeah, and even Neil and Wim, I mean, they had this like really connect. I mean, both of them, that really connected relationship. Like, I get the idea that, I mean, these were like the kids that would play D&D in the basement,
Right. It 100%.
And they were like Wim playing with vintage action figures and being obsessed with this like past, this ancient, at this point, according to him anyway. I mean, he's whatever, 10, 11, 12 years old. These Jedi are like ancient history. I mean, he's like acting out, Roman adventures or something with these figures.
Mm-hmm.
And Neil and him kind of have this same perspective. And Fern and KB are sort of, I think KB hangs out with Fern because Fern lets her hang out with her, and she gives her something gives her something to do. And I think they get along. And now that you've smashed these two buddies, all these buddies together, and they clicked. Like, it was immediate when they were on the ship. And well, someone's got to press the button, DP. Someone has to press that button. And if it's going to be this kid,
it has to move the plot along.
It's going to be me. He's got to press the button. If you see a blinking green button, hey, T. Mitch, how many times have you been on Smuggler's Run? You press the green button, don't you? Right?
We've activated Chewbacca. I don't know if you know how to do that, but we've activated Chewbacca.
Absolutely. You press that button, and that starts the whole thing. Like, if he didn't press that button, we wouldn't be anywhere. So, I mean, I think this is going to be great. And even the scene in the on the port, the spaceport, that could have gone south. I think that could have been really shitty, but I think it worked because the creatures are great. They're all very they're interesting. I mean, every character that I saw, including Brutus, who came up in our clip to introduce our show, the Wolfman, which I think goes back to the cantina scene in A New Hope, right?
Yeah.
All these like really bizarre animal creatures, things we can relate to, not necessarily things with eyes coming out on tentacles, but like a wolf, a dog, different, that type of thing. I think this really speaks back to the original vibe of Star Wars, and I think we're in for I think it's going to be great. So, what do we think about this planet? We all talked about it. What do we think?
You talking about Adam?
Yeah. What do we think? What do we think?
At first, I didn't care about it, until the fact that they started pointing out that, okay, there's some barriers surrounding it. And then it was like, okay, then it started, okay, they had these droids with cameras and stuff on their head and stuff. And pretty much all there is around is just droids and stuff. And then they got off the planet and they started saying, okay, the planet is a myth. Okay, you're lying. We don't know what this is and everything. So, like I said before, that's a great way to intrigue me because it builds just a mystery of it. Now I'm all of a sudden interested. How did they keep that planet hidden? And what kind of society is, knowing what we know about Star Wars and like the Empire and the New Republic and everything, and how basically messed up, all their endeavors are. For this planet to be this pristine, it's got to be something, And I'm intrigued.
Do you think Wendell, Wim's dad, is like
He's a bad father.
Okay. So he's a father with an
That's
agenda.
not good.
He's an agenda. There's something going on, and there's some reason that mom is out of the picture, and I think that's going to be a dark sword in this.
Not to mention that he's leaving a 10-year-old like, by himself like all the time,
Here's some money for lunch. Yeah, just throws
for the whole week.
Gotta work. I'm an engineer.
Right.
I'm an engineer.
No, he's not an engineer. He's a supervisor, pretty high up in whatever echelon of power is being hidden from the people. I mean, there's a lot to unpack with that.
Yeah.
You know what?
So the great work. It's called the great work. What is that?
So to me, this really felt like these guys are out of place. They're a time capsule of like 50 years ago. It's like a time capsule of like 1975 or something like that. Just stuck somewhere, and they have had no contact with the outside world. So they still think the Jedi are awesome, right? So they'd still be doing disco. They'd still be saying stuff like groovy. They have a lot of other
wizard.
So yeah, wizard. So they're saying wizard, like that's their groovy, I guess, in Star Wars. That's how you know it's the 60s in Star Wars land. Because they say wizard. But I think that essentially, they're telling us the story of this place. I think it's this repressive society. They're surprised about how many stars there are. They have Old Republic credits. They think they have these view boxes that are like story, like tablets, like Kindles for Jedi books.
Right. Yeah.
And this is set. We know this is set after the fall of the Empire because the crawl says it, although it's not specific about when. But it's after the fall of the Empire somewhere. So what happened to the scouring of the Jedi from the galaxy? They should be completely removed, but these guys don't have that going on, and so it makes sense that there's something not necessarily fishy, but it makes sense that there's something secondary, a mystery, a greater mystery. I think you said, DP, going on here about where these people are from. Why does it seem like suburban 1950s, 2.3 kids in a picket fence? Why is it seem like that? And so it's interesting, right? I mean, we would say to those people that are step out in their, their platform shoes and their leisure suits, with their outdated haircuts, we'd say, hey, the world has moved on, and they'd say, dig.
But in some ways, it's coming back to all that. Yeah. You haven't noticed it's all coming back. People are wearing leisure suits, platform shoes. It's all so. It's like maybe this is like a retro world where everyone felt that things were better 50 years ago. So now we're trying to rebuild that culture to sustain ourselves into the future.
Based on what you guys are telling me, it's kind of giving me kind of like WandaVision vibes almost, kind of like they're in a simulation, like, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like, and he's kind of alluding to that when he works for like this mysterious kind of company, like it's you know what I mean? It's kind of like you're living in a simulation. You guys still use Old Republic credits to where the Republic is fallen. There's a new Republic, and there is no Empire, but there are still remnants of the Empire. There's still ships out there. There is a brewing First Order, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's kind of like, and we discuss this in our stories. It's kind of like the Wild West at this point. But something weirdly is like, why would you need this monitoring government? You know what I mean? And like all this surveillance, like it's like London or some communistic type society. Like, so it's kind of weird,
It's like 1984, Big Brother. They're always watching, they're always telling, and there's a lot of people that think that this is like an ultimate dystopia, is this technocracy where ultimately robots, like the only government you can trust is a government run by robots because they can't help but follow the rules, right? Something like that. It'll be interesting to find out more about what they're actually up to. Are they guarding some treasure? Is there some sort of like, other secret going on? Is it this like a cult planet? Was it like some religious separatist society? Is this like the village? I'm not Shyamalan, the village situation, where they're just telling telling them it's like 100 years before it is, and they're like, "Whoa, this technology is great." There could be a lot of possible explanations here, but what they got right about when we talk about the 80s and we talk about throwbacks and we talk about retro and stepping out of the past and all that stuff is that they brought the right things forward. So they brought like the mood, and they brought, like I said, some of the chintzy graphics. They brought this awesome wolf suit with them. Thank God. They should have brought that
practical
way longer.
Yeah, practical.
Because we would probably be like, there's no if humans ever encounter some intelligent species, we're gonna be like, there's no way they actually talk like that. However it is, we're gonna be like, there's no way. And the aliens would do the same for us. There's a famous sci-fi short story where it's like, how do they talk? Well, they flap their meat at each other. Talking about it like us, right? Like they flap their meat at each other and it makes flappy, flippy sounds, and that's how they know. That's how they talk. Well, that's crazy, right? Like, well, anyway, man, I got way off topic. Anyway, so they're bringing a lot of this chintzy stuff back. They're doing a lot of things to appeal to what I think is the most vocal part of the Star Wars fan base. So there's a lot of pandering to millennials, particularly people who were, I would say, boys in the era of like 1985 to 1995. That's who they're after. I think that's who they got. They even got Urkel. Urkel's in this. They put Jaleel right in this. I put him in the thumb. I put him in the thumbnail. So watch for Jaleel. He's right there next to the wolf. So I felt very pandered to, and that obviously again made me very happy, and will keep me coming back if I feel like someone made a Star Wars show and they were like, "It's for you, Steel City," and it's interesting. I think I'll use that analogy sometimes. I'll be like, if you asked me to write a Star Wars show, what would I put in it? And I would say, I'll put all these things in it, and I hate it, right? I think I've said that before. These things that we watch, but in this case, I like all this stuff, and it's hard to execute. And they should get credit for executing something with younger protagonists that doesn't make you feel like they're Mary Sue's, doesn't write them like they're just full adults and they're totally competent and you shouldn't worry about them, which I think is another trap they fall into. Except for Wim. Well, whatever. But they also aren't annoying. And that is, again, so hard to do. I mean, I really feel like we watched an Acolyte, all those characters got annoying. Especially the whole, like, I'm playing two characters and I'm not playing them. Like, that whole thing didn't land for me. So watching these child actors deliver these great performances, even in what probably is mocap, or maybe is just an animated performance, but this kid's doing Andy Serkis style work and at a very high level playing Neil. His name is Robert Timothy Smith. It's hard to bring a lot of dimension to a character that doesn't have a human face, which is where we get so much of what we read in communication. And I think that it should be said that's hard to do, to sell me a character like that and make me be invested. And I think that they set that all up right. I think seeing Neil's family, seeing that they're a whole family elephants, it was just awesome. I really like this. I think this is what the jizz band this is that species with the piano player. What's his name?
Max Rebo. There was some discussion about that, but the writers and creators said no. He's his own thing. He's his own species. He's completely unrelated. And I was like, why? Why can't they just say, yeah, this is a third cousin of Max Rebo? Why don't they just say no?
Related. They don't all have to know each
other. Similar, but this is a very diverse galaxy, very diverse universe, and just because someone looks like someone else doesn't necessarily mean that they're related.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, so what about this planet, this civilization? So what are they doing? This career assessment test. This is creepy, right? So when the kids go to a certain grade,
that is very, very, that's some Severance type stuff.
They take a test in a bit, much like an SAT, but this is a little more final. This is like it. You take this test and this determines what you will do for your life. Now you're 10 to 12. I don't know, 10, somewhere in there. So now you need to make a decision. And here's Wim. I know Wim is annoying, but Wim wants to do more. Wim wants to
have an adventure.
Protect. He wants
Yeah,
to
he's-
protect and help people who are in danger. No, that's what droids are for. And everyone's laughing at him. That's bullshit. Wim is the one that is going to. I don't know. I think he's going to be. I hope he's going to be great. I hope he's going to get his wish, and his ambition is to become a Jedi. And I think Jude Law and his character's name is Jin or
Jod Na Woo.
what was it?
It is Jod Na
Jod
Woo.
Nawu. Okay,
Yeah,
so very, very ancient Jedi, but
Ironic.
what side was he on, or what side is he on now? Because he's the one. He's part of an era that went into hiding. So we have to kind of be skeptical with his intention. Like what does he want to do with these kids? Is he trying to help them? Does he really want to help them, or is he there to make sure that they don't cause any more damage? Because now they've escaped this through the barrier, this planet, and they can pretty much tell the entire galaxy what's going on. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, we don't know. So was he sent there to make sure they don't do that?
Was he like a Terminator? Was he sent there to protect, or was he sent there to terminate and everything?
Right.
So,
Right.
It's easier to terminate them inside the cell. So probably, probably not just straight up, because that would be,
How would that look?
in a barrel. No need to let them out.
well, yeah, that brings up like the whole intrigue of it, because they have the potential to tell everything that's going on at it. I mean, they're not, they're not privy to trying to keep it a secret, because they don't even know that this is something that needs to be kept a secret. So, and this space station, I guess, that they're on, I guess it's outside the outer rim where the Republic hasn't even touched them, or they're so far outside where they're just basically pirates just doing their own thing and get to congregate and all that stuff. It's so creepy how like everybody, including like the I guess the strip club that that or the club, whatever.
How weird was that, right?
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
weird. Super Duke Nukem-ish. Like that's where I got like my Duke Nukem vibe. Like I was like, wow.
It's the
Yeah. You're just trying to. I mean, you don't know who to trust, who what's going on, but we still getting perspective and fun stuff, with the kids, with all that and everything. SM comes and protects them, or tries his best to at least. Fern stands up like a Han Solo and stuff. So
Yep.
it was good to see. And is Jude Law character really a Jedi, or is he not? Is he playing some sort of trick? Just because he, that key came doesn't necessarily mean that he's a Jedi,
Right.
So it's just a ton of mystery there,
And he might not be a Jedi. He might be Force sensitive,
Mhm.
but he might not have subscribed. He might not have taken drink. He might not have had the Kool-Aid. And
So
nor
my worry now is if once they find out about this planet, what's going to happen is if the planet is there for protection, like we must protect this society and everything, that's fine. My worry is now, okay, if that's the case, what happens when they find out about the planet? What's going to happen with that?
Right.
They could either go in that direction or go into like, okay, well, this is a like you said, Ken, something that shouldn't be there, or just a whole different thing where it's so much crazy weird stuff going on that planet. They need to be set free from a cult, set free and all that stuff.
So we'll be talking like some sort of a revolution of some sort, like maybe the society that had been brainwashed since birth, and they don't know that there's a lot going on out there, and it's not just this planet. And
They're stuck in a matrix.
Yeah, we're stuck in a matrix, and the cat keeps walking by, and they're just like, okay.
I hope that
cat. And that's how I'm gonna live my life. And he said my dad's he say his dad's a data analyst or something, but he doesn't want to do that. And that was immediately like, why? Why? What's this kid saying? We gotta shut him up. So there's that. That. Like, so Jude Law comes in and he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna help you, and all in return you have to take me with you. So is he a mole? Is he a plant? Like from somewhere now he has to
figure out why these kids there, or why how they got there, and how can they get back to where they came from.
Right. And he has that mission. Is he gonna, like, after maybe an episode or two, be like, well, you know what, I like these kids. These kids are cool.
I mean, we've seen these stories like play out like thousands of times.
Right.
So
yeah,
likely that's what it is.
Well,
that's fine.
we still have to,
they tell it good.
Yeah, we still have to figure out how they got there too, right? Because the droid was wiped and his ship crash landed there. So we have to figure out why the droid's memory was wiped, or who put it on autopilot to land there in the first place. So that's another kind of
real treasure is the families of the pirates from back in the day. And it's like the friends we made along the way. And the pirates get there and they find that out and they just get so angry. They just so livid and they just go berserk. That's what
they get so furious, and they kill their captain and fight amongst themselves in a duel and become like the skeleton crew, right? So it's like, it's almost like a disease that they had that wiped them out.
So are we thinking Jude Law was that guy in the beginning with the mask?
Yeah, that was him that they captured.
I
don't know. It was weird because I don't think he had a lightsaber, but maybe they held his hands back so he couldn't use it.
Maybe that was a good portrayal, because I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. And he said, "Oh, then it's mutiny then," and that was it. He disappeared. So he was imprisoned, and I think those pirates brought him to that spaceport, threw him in that brig. Sure, the pirates run that spaceport. They can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, for him to be a Jedi, of course, the fact that he hid it until these kids were there, that begs to differ. Like, clearly, when he was acting to be, he didn't use the Force at all. I mean, he could have, and then got out of that situation, but he didn't for a reason. So there's still that stakes that Jedi are like you said, these mythical wizards. I mean, this kid's reading books. It would have been a nice Easter egg to kind of hear, hey, like if him and Neil were talking. You ever hear the myth of like Luke Skywalker? Just like a subtle, and that's me being nitpicky. I would have loved to get the finality, because we talk about it. I just don't think that he got to me. There's still no Return of the Jedi Luke until end of episode 7 Luke. I just think that they could have just sprinkled a hint of a myth, the legend. They talk about in episode 7, the legend of Luke Skywalker. It would have just been cool to kind of maybe Easter egg, or hey, did you hear what happened on Andor or Ender, or I just was hoping they would sprinkle just a little bit something in there.
We got a lot.
How much of a bubble are they in to where they could get that information? Like, do they even know Skywalker saved the galaxy? Like, how far is that?
They have a tablet to understand Jedi or wizards, and they know light and dark. It has to be
okay. Good point.
And was that one character? Was that like a Vader type thing? I mean, his figurines. I was trying to slow it down and see it, but it was kind of unique.
They were doing the voices. It was definitely like, you will die. I mean, they were doing Vader and Luke. It
was strange, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, so
it'll be interesting to see what they know about the outside world, given that they seem to be cordoned off from it.
Yeah. I mean, we're interested in seeing all that.
You got to tell
You
us
know,
now. So yeah, there's a lot of checks written though, for sure. Right? They could botch this by having them all be in the ship for like 4 episodes, walking around, and then doing like exterminating cockroaches or whatever. They could do that. If they do that, I'm going to say, hey, this costs a lot of money.
Yeah, and they got to get off this.
Let's not waste our time, please.
Yeah, we saw the starship. It looks good. We get it. It jumped through hyperspace. We got it. Now it needs to move. It needs to go. We need to get the breakout from prison and find out where this goes.
Yeah. But the problem is the real stake of this whole show and it's setting up is they need credits because the ship is incomplete. So now they can't get back home, remember? Because the ship is damaged. So the real big payoff is the skeleton crew are these people going to go on like missions to create or generate revenue to fix the ship to try to get home? But overall, we know that the ship is damaged and there's no computer or autopilot to find their home planet. So they're going to have to then go to planets and figure out, hey, do you know where so and so is? So they're kind of building up what it seems like is going to be the story of getting the ship fixed and finding a way to get home, and ultimately what is home, right? And I'm sure that's what we'll figure out. Like, why would you guys want to go back there, or like, you know what I mean? There's going to be some kind of cliffhanger.
Let's say Jude Law is the captain, the pirate captain. Let's say that's the case. Wouldn't he know? He would. I mean, pirates know a lot. Pirates know the ocean very well. They know all the ports, all the safe ports, all the ports where you can get a good drink, where you can get, where they know where everything is. So if we say that he was this captain pirate, I think he knows where AT-ATA is, and I think he wants to know why no one else does. I think he thinks there's a bigger treasure there, or something. I think he's something that will get him back in graces with the pirate team, so they won't keep throwing him in the brig.
He definitely sent his ship there. You're right.
Yeah. He promised them what? He promised them a cache of Old Republic bounty. What did the pirates call it? Arr! Arr, Old Republic grog. Lots of it. Come with me. He promised them all this stuff. And what did they get? One. It was one. And Brutus was not happy with that. So if these characters are the same, then maybe that's his motivation. He wants to find whatever's going on here and bring it to the pirate team and say, like, okay, here, new treasure for you. And
the whole treasure planet.
The whole treasure planet. Here's why. And we can go and pillage the heck out of
it. Yeah. That would not be good, And
no.
I mean, hopefully it doesn't. See, that was, like I said, that would be my fear, that the show turns dark. In fact, in the fact that they're invading the planet because it's a treasure and stuff. So, I mean, things can turn. I mean, of course, you're going to have adversity. And then also brings into question how long this show is going to go on. I think with this type of show, it has to have a tight window because these kids are eventually going to grow up. And you're going to start having questions on, okay, well, how do you have the Stranger Things scenarios going on, where you can't be spacing this out like 2 or 3 years between seasons and stuff. Also, I think that this type of show, like I said in the chat off channel and stuff, it probably would have been a better binge than a week to week, from the way the story flows, because it felt like a movie, that the first part of a movie and then all of a sudden stops, and then you got to wait like a week.
I think for streaming, they need to separate these shows into arcs and drop 2, 3, 4 episodes at a time. So again, to use Andor,
maybe,
Andor, like the whole heist arc, boom, and done, and it's moving on to another piece because it's like the end of that sets up the next week. I think that's probably how eventually they'll be releasing stuff. But remember, you got to trickle this stuff out there. I mean, we got to get
understandable.
You can't have it all.
You got to keep subscribers going and everything. You don't want anybody canceling their subscription after the first weekend.
He comes on. Nobody says anything. How you sit down and watch this stuff? Oh, I hate it. I'm old. I'm 100 years old. Sorry.
Based on their last quarterly report last month, I mean, the streaming's up, so I don't know if they're cooking the books or not, but more people, and there's not necessarily a lot more content. I mean, granted, there's more Discovery, Hulu, and things like that, but as far as across the Disney platforms, there's not much. There hasn't been much new content since the writer's strike in this whole back half of the year. So,
I think Star Wars Plus is doing all right. I mean, honestly, I think it's a great app. I'm glad I have it on my phone, and
them adding Hulu on there definitely has made it like a really good value. So I mean, for you to set up there and disconnect cancel your service over a show or two, that just doesn't make any sense. It's like paying for cable every month. You pay for cable and all those channels you didn't watch. So
it's garbage. I tell you, it's garbage. Why do they make you pay? I pay for channels I never watch.
I don't watch the biography channel.
I hate biography. I don't even know what that word is. Is that oceanography? I hate that.
Is that the study of flounders, the ones with two eyes on the top?
But you know what the biggest trope is in the telecom industry? Why do I have to pay a broadcast TV fee or broadcast sports fee and I don't watch sports? The biggest thing I don't watch sports. Why do I have to pay a regional sports fee?
You don't watch it and you don't play it either. I don't play sports.
Yeah, you gotta pay for it.
Whatever.
But
go back
you're right though. I mean, I don't know. They have this laid out, and we talk about this like we subscribe to this and we'll watch it, but and I guess it's my only concern with and it's not just a show, it's just media in general. Like, I know that this was a show that was created and there was a thought to make it more of a a children's story, but they just don't care. They don't. I mean, my kids, like I said, I don't see a lot of new viewership. This is something that pulled on our heartstrings. Like, I'm glued to this because everything calls back to things I grew up imagination, playing with action figures, everything that happened in at least the first episode, that was part of my childhood, so I can relate. But when I'm and it's kind of shows our age, right? Because kids don't necessarily play with action figures. They don't use their imagination and do these type of things anymore. So
I see kids watching this. I see YouTube. I see potential for YouTube Shorts and TikTok, things and stuff, clips that'll probably end up going viral for certain things that happen in the show that'll eventually, pick up that'll pick up more kids. Right now, it's still Star Wars, and I don't know. Like you said, I mean, I don't know if little kids are Star Wars adverse or they're into it all the adults are and stuff. But I think this is something here that because you actually have kid actors and stuff on there, it'll eventually trickle down to them. They'll find out about it somehow.
You know what I think the show
my 10-year-old liked it. My 10-year-old watched it. And
okay.
I really thought this had a spot for this is something that has a spot for ABC. This to me, it seems like an 8:00 spot that would draw in that children because it's on the ABC, isn't a pay network, right?
Right.
So it's free content and it's something that everybody can watch. So I'd like to see the show. Didn't they do that with Andor? They ran it on ABC.
Yeah, they ran it during Christmas or something like that.
So I'd love to see the show.
They'll probably run this at some holiday on ABC or whatever.
And that'll do really well too.
This feels like is a pivot. It's a turning point away from the types of stories they were telling before that were very much the Jedi stories, the big stories, the canonical stories, the dynastic Jedi Skywalker stories. And they're telling something that's a little different, which I always like. It's got a good blend of everything we want. It is pandering to be. So I would be interested to hear what people older than me, significantly older than me, think about this, and what people significantly younger than me think about this. That might be the real dividing axis. And I don't know if you don't have memories of the Goonies and Little Rascals and that sort of crap. You know what I mean? That I don't know if this is going to hit the same way for you, or if. But it's also possible that those tropes were so widespread that they'll hit regardless, right? But you always understand.
That's what we hope. Yeah, we hope for sure. So,
Does any of this take place like during like the Mandoverse?
it is. This is 6. This is after 6, between 6 and 7. So this is in that 6.5, as I was calling it.
So we got potential crossover with like
For sure.
There was a
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian in the spaceport.
Yeah.
There was a Mandalorian. You saw him walk. You saw his jetpack anyway, real detailed.
Oh, you
No
did?
helmet. Yeah, no helmet. But the armor was now might not be an actual Mandalorian. Might have been someone that killed a Mandalorian. Took the that was rampant.
Well, the
So-
Mandalorian,
Or it could have been part of Bo-Katan Kryze. Remember, they took their helmets.
They didn't-
off, so
they
it
didn't
could
wear
have
the
been part of
helmet,
her
yeah.
sect as well. So, yeah, just a lot of Easter eggs. But yeah, this definitely takes between post Return of Jedi and pre, whatever that is, Force Awakens. So
Awesome.
interesting,
Potential crossover. I
interesting.
love it.
Love it
Yeah.
too. But
doesn't stink. Just don't stink. Just keep.
Yeah,
Please
just
don't.
don't stay, Jed. I mean, just make a good show and have us keep coming back and talking about it in a
Sure.
positive vibe every week, and not
We're 2 for
upset
2.
T. Mitch.
2 for 2 or 2. This is our first 2 Ken out of Kens in a long time. So,
It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
It's literally been a minute to get some Ken out
It's
of
been
Kens.
a minute.
2 Ken out of Kens is good from the whole crew. But if you're not aware, next Tuesday will be the next episode, and we'll be back here midweek to break that down, episode 3 again. So until next week, guys, this is the way.
This is the way.
Way.
Check out Urkel.